first order of business. We have several minutes to approve. The first one being the October 25th regular meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept, whoa, we're loud. The October 25th meeting minutes as written.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ted seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Oh,
I missed part of the meeting,
any
so I
abstention?
didn't say anything.
All right, you want to abstain?
Yeah.
Okay. One abstention. Second minutes are our October 25th non-public meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the October 25th non-public meeting minutes as written.
Ted moves. Is there a second?
Second?
Seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. We also have to, actually, we kind of like took care of that just now.
Did we?
The non-public,
No,
apparently.
it was the November
November
1st
1st.
meeting. So if you could make a motion
Okay.
to accept the minutes as amended, and then state your amendment.
Does someone wish to make a motion? And now what amendment are you
Is the
talking about?
amendment to change
Voting in progress.
who voted?
The last line of the attorney letter here states the board can simply just adopt the same earlier motion again and not use the word ratify in the motion. So you're going to adopt the motion, which was,
Talking about the union negotiations?
no, it was the motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Right.
So it would be Ted and Zach and Bill were the only ones that were here. So the three of you,
Technically, it was only Bill and I that were here. That was the
Yeah,
problem.
we had you on the phone.
Because Ted had left, Marianne was on the phone, and that was not
That's right, you weren't
kosher.
there.
right? So if you could make a motion to adjourn that meeting again at 9:03, and the board could vote, it will fix those minutes.
But we can't.
Don't we have to adjourn it now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to adjourn the non-public meeting from November 1st, 2021.
Or ratify the decision to adjourn. Because we adjourned
Thought
already.
I wasn't supposed to use the word ratify.
No, don't use that word.
Okay.
Is that?
Well,
Oh,
Ted,
second. Oh, I got a
You're
second.
the only one who can
See-
second.
not to kill this, but, so he said, by taking a vote to ratify the decision made by the board after the quorum lapsed at the physical location of the meeting, but while a quorum was participating in, such a ratification vote will insulate the town from a claim that the vote was unlawful.
Right, and then alternatively, the board can simply just adopt the same earlier motion again. Ted was here for the motion that you made originally.
Right.
He was
Correct.
not here for the motion where you adjourned the meeting.
Yep,
So that's all you're changing is that adjournment.
okay. So you made the motion?
Yes.
Okay, and there was a second?
Ted second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay, one abstention. Wow, okay, 8:45 then. Okey-doke. The select board will be, actually, we have regular meetings that begin at 5:30, or 5 o'clock.
Bill,
What?
we did not yet accept the November 1st meeting minutes. We did the October 31st ones, or 25th ones.
Okay. I'm just trying to hurry it along. All right, so, regarding the October 25th?
No, the November 1st.
November
I
1st.
thought we just did that with the attorney.
Amended,
All we
amended.
did,
as amended.
Yep,
yep.
We did not get a vote for that.
okay. So is there a motion?
I move to accept the November 1st, 2021 non-public meeting minutes as amended with the new adjournment time.
A second.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all's in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I guess we're back to 9.
So that one's done, huh?
It's a lot of work.
All right, so all our regular meetings will begin at 5 o'clock. Select Board's going to meet on the following dates. Monday, November 15th, for a work session, non-public meeting. And then on November 22nd, we'll have a regular meeting, as well as December 13th. All the above meetings will be at the Plymouth Town Hall. And citizens wishing to be listed on the board's agenda should notify the Town Hall before 12 noon, the Friday before the scheduled meeting. Town office closures. Thursday, November 11th, 2021, Plymouth Town offices will be closed in observance of Veterans Day. And a Veterans Day ceremony will take place in front of Town Hall at 10:30. All are welcome. And Friday, November 12th, town offices will be closed to allow for the ductwork at the facility to be cleaned and sanitized. I have no comments. Appointments. Brian Kidd Keeler, full-time sergeant detective.
Good evening. So I asked the chief if I could present on the detective sergeant position, primarily because I was in it and still currently covering it. So we did just finish our process. We had 3 candidates that all did a really good job. In law enforcement, typically detective sergeant's one of the more difficult positions to fill, primarily because all major crimes fall on the shoulders of the detective sergeant. So their knowledge base has to be very vast in terms of all the different crimes and responsibilities for them. So we conducted an oral board, which consisted of Lieutenant LaFave, Lieutenant Mike Clark, and Scott Whedon. So we had a really good oral board. And they were not only looking for who was the most qualified, but also who's going to be the best fit for the town and the department. We did have a unanimous choice. That was Brian Kidd Keeler. He comes to us with a lot of experience. He's worked a lot of different cases. And I really think he's going to be a great fit for the town and for our agency. He was offered a conditional offer of employment. He has successfully completed his background, and so we did bring the appointment to the town manager, which was signed. And so we're here tonight to ask the board as well to sign his appointment to be the next detective sergeant. Anybody have any questions about Brian or anything that you should have the appointment with you, but is there anything specifically that I could answer for the board?
Seeing none,
I don't have anything.
Thank you.
do we need to have a motion to assign to the appointment? Okay.
Make a motion to appoint Brian Kidd Keeler, full-time sergeant detective.
I'll second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All
Thank
those
you.
opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
It was fast. No, I just meant finding somebody. It was fast. Yeah.
I kind of had to move fast for this one.
Yeah, impressive though. Where are your pen? Oh, I signed with a Sharpie.
Okay, purchase orders. Ann Hebert, AG Construction, Inc., replacing existing front town hall stairway.
So I am presenting to the board tonight a purchase order from 3G Construction, Inc., and this is for the replacement of the existing town hall front stairs. We did receive 2 prices. One was from Haley Masonry. The other one was from 3G Construction, Stanley Grayton. I am requesting that the board consider Stanley Grayton's bid of $88,500 There's several reasons why Stanley's being selected over Mr. Keeley. The nature of replacing those stairway is just not going in and replacing new steps. You have to go underneath. This is a historic building. The importance of replacing these stairs right now is because the stairs are really being held up by 2x4s. It's a lot of weight under there. Now's a good time to do it. It is expensive. I was probably just as shocked as you were when you see this quote. And there's a lot to it. Mr. Keeley, as I understand it, was going to try to cut the stairs that we have now and try to put them back in its place, where Mr. Grayton is actually taking the stairways out. So there'll be no entrance from the front way. He's taking them out. He's actually going to be doing some professional cutting of them to make sure. We know that one of the stairs is already split. So it really is a safety issue, and the stairs have never been the appropriate depth and need to be repaired.
So replacing them with just new granite is probably not consistent with a historic building, or, so that's another reason why you were assuming that we go with the,
Stanley is recommending they supply new granite for all the steps, not just taking them out and trying to make them work. We really need to have the entire stairway replaced.
I have a question. How did you advertise this proposal?
We just called around to see what we had for contractors who could do concrete work. We had 4 people that actually we showed the job to. 2 of them said they wouldn't even touch it.
Aren't the stairs actually granite?
They are.
Okay.
And that's what's being replaced from Stanley's quote, is granite. I personally speak very highly of the individual. I did put in here a recommendation from the Highway Department, Jeremiah Sargent, and that's in here for the board also to consider. He actually went and spoke to each contractor that came in and looked at the job, and it is his recommendation as well to go with Stanley. Is there something different that the board would like to see before moving forward with this project?
how are we gonna pay for it?
The
On
price
ve-
is just so surprising.
On the very front page, you'll see that there's several different areas of bond money that is remaining, except for the very last line. We have building maintenance repairs for the town hall. There's 12,000 coming out of there.
So what do we lose by the town hall repairs?
I'm sorry?
So,
We had $100,000 out of the bond was meant for the town hall building.
right,
59,000 of it is remaining, and that will be used for these stairs.
and we don't have that assigned to anything, we're not replacing or losing?
We had plenty of things we would have liked to have done, but that stairway seems to be the biggest priority at this time.
Those others can be held off.
They will need to be.
Do we have a list of what those other things are?
I can create one if you want me to.
Seems like it would be helpful. I mean, the stairs are on top of all of our minds because someone got hurt recently on them, and they are.
But over the years, we've had many, many people that have,
Yeah, but what we
Consistently
don't, if we don't have that list, we don't know if there's another risky something, right?
How long will the project take?
I'm not sure I have that answer for you. I will though.
Assuming it is gonna, I mean, concrete work, they tear it out, it's gonna be multiple days, probably weeks. Would we use the side entrance during that
Yes.
time? The one with the ramp?
Side
on
entrance
this
or the
side?
ramp, either one. We can unlock the side door over here if we need to as well.
I would love to see how long it's gonna take. Because it could be months.
Could
True.
be.
Yeah.
There's it is going to be a task.
Did he indicate when he could start the job?
He's been bothering us for a while to know whether or
Once it
not,
started.
yeah.
He probably wants to pour that concrete while it's not,
Still
not, yeah, while it's warm enough, right?
Want a motion?
I can bring it back at the next, or I'll have Kathy bring it back at the next meeting
I would
with your
prefer
list.
that, actually. Well, it's up to you, but I'm thinking it might be kind of premature to, go forward at this point, but.
I have the utmost confidence in Stan Graydon.
Mm.
He did our cannon.
And he is the one who actually went under the stairs to initially secure them where they are now, and that's been a couple years.
He's at least familiar with
He
what's
is.
going on there. Yeah.
Still want to fire the cannon off at one point.
No.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
Make a motion that we.
go for it.
We fire the cannon, yeah.
So, do you want to prepare that list for consideration for the next meeting, or is it a critical time that we have to go forward at this point, or what's your opinion?
I'd like to get them started if I could, but if the board is not ready to sign this purchase order, then I will wait.
Well, I move that we go forward with Stan Graydon. I trust him, I've seen his work, it's excellent, and he's so knowledgeable.
Okay, that's a motion. Is there a second?
Guess we're gonna wait.
Yep.
Personally, I just want to know what other maintenance we're deferring before we commit to it.
All right. Next, portable radios and chargers and spare batteries. That's with a 3-year warranty. And, hey, Jeremy.
Hello,
Hey,
how's it going?
it's going okay. How about yourself?
Not too bad.
Good.
So, we have here to try to get 10 portable radios to replace our failing radios. We were unsuccessful with the Assistance of Firefighters grant to replace everything, obviously, with federal funds. So, I got 2 quotes, one from OME and one from Two-Way Communications. I would like to go with Two-Way Communications for a couple of reasons. The biggest one is that's the same radio company the police department uses, and they also threw in quite a few incentives for us, so
Price was lower.
yeah, so that's what I got. Any questions?
How old are the radios these are replacing?
The radios that they're replacing we got in, I believe, 2005, 2006 timeframe.
So a good long life.
Yep.
Do you expect these to last a similar sort of 15-year window, or?
I hope so, but
You
I
never
mean,
know.
like anything, technology changes and you never know what will happen. We've been pretty fortunate with the ones that we have currently. So,
Are any of these new ones?
what's that?
Are we replacing more than, do we have 9 we're replacing but really buying 10? Or,
No, we're taking the
Oh,
10
10.
and putting them right into service, yep. With them. And
So
the nice
that-
thing is the, Alex has offered to program the radios, which also saves saves in costs. So,
So what happens with the older ones?
we're gonna basically hang on to them in case we have a problem with one of our other radios, then we have one to kind of use for the time being type of thing.
Okay.
This is only a fraction of the radios that we actually have. I mean,
How many portables do you have?
we have, currently we have 22 portable radios. So,
all 15 years?
yep.
Oh.
Yep.
And you were hoping to replace all of them with the grant, and
Correct. So this'll at least get a start.
All right. Thank you, Jeremy. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the request to purchase 10 portable radios from 2A.
For For 25,000.
For $25,000.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Ooh, that signature's horrible. All right, the combi tool. Shield cutter reciprocating saw.
So the next one is to replace our oldest set of extrication tools, which are currently 29 years old. So the new tools are battery powered. They run off a DeWalt battery. They come with what they call a lifetime warranty, which they advertise as 10 years life expectancy of tools. You'll only see one quote due to the fact that there's only one dealer that is able to sell those tools to us. Kind of like our fire gear, there's only one dealer that can sell us the brand of fire gear we have, and we want to stay with the same brand of tools that we've had for the last at least 29 years, which is obviously before I came here. We've demoed them. The company comes in and does training with us. We do once a year, but the guy would come in more if we wanted him, which is really nice. Our dealer, or our sales representative, is also the guy that does the training and the maintenance on our current tools, so we have a great relationship. One of the things that you'll see is the price that the town's gonna be paying isn't the total amount for the tools. So the Firemen's Association has agreed to cover the remaining costs so we can get these.
What, $2,600 or something like that, or?
I think it's gonna be about $1,000 difference.
Well, it's okay.
So,
The 980 that's on this last page?
yeah, I have a spreadsheet there too that has
Yeah,
everything
that's-
broken out.
So the FFA is paying for the 980?
Yep. So, and the dealer also, with us purchasing basically the big ticket items of the cutter and the spreader, they're giving us the 2 battery kits for no cost and basically the Sawzall for no cost. So we're kind of making out pretty good on this one too.
Okay. Any other questions, or is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the request for purchase of the Speedway Safety Service, Inc. battery extraction tool for a sum of $24,840.
Beautiful motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Neil seconds. Any discussion?
You should amend that motion to waive the competitive bid process.
Oh, oops. Sorry.
I'll amend the motion to waive the competitive bid process in the instance of purchasing the Speedway Safety Service, Inc. battery extraction tool for the sum of $24,840.
Ted?
Second.
On the amendment. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All
Thank you very
opposed?
much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate the documentation, Jeremy. It's helpful.
Next up, we have repairs to the town hall generator. Milton Cat. Ann, are you bringing that forward, or?
That's me again. All right, so we have a generator, which you all know, it's out on the side of the building. And when they came to do the PM on that, they've identified that we have some issues going on. We have a fuel pump that needs replacement, the cooling system service is needed, and there's a 2018 battery that needs to be replaced inside. Total cost for those repairs, $5,635.45. And that is the purchase order that's in front of you.
Is this coming out of the regular town hall budget as opposed to the bond?
Yes.
Any questions on a motion?
I think it's really important. Fuel injection pumps on diesel engines are really expensive, and if they don't work properly, you're not gonna have your power.
Sounds good.
How old's that generator?
It's a 2011.
Okay.
Any work other than this prior?
No, just regular preventative maintenance,
Is,
which is expensive as well.
Right.
is that standby generator operated periodically?
Yes, every week it runs for about 15 minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the purchase order to Milton Cat for $5,635.45.
Zach moves, is there a second?
Second.
Seconds, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. So who's gonna start making some motions?
I did make one.
Okey-doke.
Should have talked about that a little bit longer, we'd be.
Oh, yeah, it's just almost so close.
Sorry.
How about them socks, anyway?
Ouch. How about JD?
Chairman, can I ask June to come up during this public hearing? She may have a lot to offer to the board, and also Joe Fagnet.
She's here.
Yeah, she's, and
She
Joe's
could
here
come
as
up.
well.
Yeah,
Sure,
if they could come up and sit with you guys,
that would be wise. Thank you.
please. Thank you.
You want to approach? Yeah, and Joe as well.
We got to do a couple arrangements here to move the TV for the presentation. But I can just start right here. And just, really this public hearing is a overview of where things are with our downtown drainage project. So tonight we have Dan Lucetti from HEB Engineers here to give us an overview of where things are at, and then take some comments and questions, concerns from the public and anybody else here from the select board and other members. So really what we're gonna do is have Dan give, I think you had 8 slides, you said, giving a quick overview about it. So we'll turn the screen, he's gonna do a share screen through Zoom, so if anybody's at home, they can see it. And then we'll run through that and take questions. Does that sound good? And Joe's here too to.
They just need to open the public hearing, so you guys can go ahead and get set up, and then they should be ready.
Yep, and we have a minute actually to,
A minute to get set up.
what's that?
A minute to get set up. Almost like we planned it.
Is exactly, I did plan it.
This is a little hard setup. Can you see it enough, or
No, but I'll move. I'm the one who can't.
people in the audience see it all right?
One over.
Moving out with you.
Hey, maybe next time we can have all the board members on this one side. We'll see. Ugh, goodness gracious.
Following the public hearing, could we open discussion again about the stairway? Joe has additional information he'd like to add. He had his hand raised, but you didn't see him.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry, Joe. Well, sure. Oops, crap.
It's 5:30, isn't it?
It's pretty damn close. Ugh. All right, it's close enough. It's 5:30. I'm opening a public hearing. The town of Plymouth engineering firm, H.E. Bergeron Engineering, has begun to gear up for the South Main Street project in conjunction with Plymouth Village Water and Sewer. You may notice the engineering firm working along South Main Street, Russell Street, Pleasant Street, and the area of Railroad Square beginning soon. The board is holding up a meeting to acquire public comment. This public hearing will be an opportunity for anyone to listen to the plan and timeline associated with this very large project. And I'm handing it over to HEB and June to,
You want to go ahead, Dan?
Dan Lucetti with HB Engineers. I'm going to be the lead design engineer on this project, as well as assistant project manager to Josh McAllister. Some of you have met him before, but he is out sick today, so filling in for him. What we're here today for is really public input session. I'm going to have a little bit of detail on where we're at with the project, the background of it, what we're looking to do, but mainly here to hear what you guys need to say, what your concerns are, desires, needs, so we can incorporate that into the project and plan ahead for it. So why is this project happening? This is a reconstruction of the drainage system on Southern Main Street as well as Russell Street. The system in that area is over 100 years old, likely old sewer lines turned into drainage as well. Inadequate service level. The whole system mainly floods in the 1-year storm event, and we're looking to upgrade that to meet the 10-year storm event to prevent flooding and damages from downtown properties, residential properties, things of that nature. This project's being coupled with the water and sewer project, which most of you are likely aware about. Plymouth Village Water and Sewer is replacing the water and sewer lines more throughout town, as well as South Main Street and Russell Street. So we are looking to follow their infrastructure project with drainage after the fact, to just kind of have one construction season, keep everything limited, and try and shorten the schedule on that. So funding, Plymouth has also received an EDA grant. 80% of the funding for Main Street and Russell Street will come from that grant, and covering engineering fees, construction fees, permitting fees, things of that nature. Project background: in 2018, KV Partners completed a preliminary drainage analysis of Russell Street and Main Street from Highland Street south, looking at more uphill watersheds that are contributing runoff to the Main Street area, figuring out ways how to bypass, reroute that drainage to impact and mitigate the flooding on Main Street, preventing those damages. In 2020, Wright Pierce took that report and extended on it, still focusing on those Main Street and Russell Street improvements, looking at discharge areas around Railroad Square, while also pulling together some preliminary budgets for construction, design, and permitting to allow the town to receive that EDA grant. Stakeholder involvement. So far, Plymouth Village Water and Sewer obviously has conducted some public outreach, I believe, in the past. We're looking to do the same exact thing, really. Likely hear some of the same things that were said before, but make sure we've got everything documented. Communicating with business owners now to plan ahead, as well as at the time of construction, to keep you up to date when work is going to be happening in front of your storefront or house, whatever it may be. Deliveries, parking, things of that nature. We want to make sure that you're heard and incorporated in this project to satisfy your needs. Municipal stakeholder meeting. Josh McAllister and myself were here a couple weeks ago, where we met with emergency services, Joe, June as well. Just had the conversation of what the town wants, what their understanding of the project is, and how the project may impact residents, businesses, as well as Plymouth State. And then the project butters meeting is today. Looking for your input to help guide us on what you want to see, what your needs are, things that we may not be aware of on a given day. I'll just say this: in the past, we've worked in similar scenarios like this. Center Conway, or downtown Conway Village, just wrapped up a project there. Route 16 in Berlin, as well as in Bridgeton, Maine. So we've got some experience in these downtown urban-esque areas where parking, deliveries, businesses are always a concern. We don't have every solution today, but we've had methods in the past that generated success for those businesses and abutters and stakeholders. So want to let you know that we are aware of it, and we'll work to figure out a solution to help your business stay open and ongoing during this process. So the project overview is just a brief map really showing our limits of work. Everything is more or less south of Highland Street. Russell Street will have a small portion of reconstruction north of the Pleasant Street intersection, and then traveling all the way down to Warren Street, and then South Main Street will be from Highland Street all the way to Warren Street, as well as where we're looking at completing this drainage work, whereas the water and sewer project is a little bit more vast than our scope. The anticipated schedule of the project is we're in preliminary design right now, working to pull together some plans for permitting. Permit applications January of 2022. Shortly after that, moving into final design and construction documents that will be used for bidding in February 2022. Bidding and contract coordination will take place in May of 2022. with construction starting in 2022 spring, through that fall, winter, as long as Mother Nature allows us to keep on working, really. Winter shut down between 2022, 2023, and then wrapping up the project in the summer of 2023 with some punch list items, minor things from there. Substantial completion, August 2023, and then final completion in September 2023. The challenges of the project that we've already identified and are aware of are obviously traffic and pedestrian access. It's a narrow roadway corridor on both Main Street and Russell Street, sharing different uses, residential uses more or less on Russell Street, whereas there's a larger commercial presence on Main Street. Parking is obviously identified as one of the top concerns. Traffic flows, detours will be needed during construction, but fleshing through where and when those can take place, coordinating with the contractor and business owners to make sure everything goes seamlessly. Parking, obviously the on-street parking will be impacted during construction. We have identified and inventoried areas in town, whether public or private property, that can be used as temporary parking areas during construction and or material storage areas for the contractor, so their equipment doesn't need to be in the road at all hours of the night, and when work is not ongoing, to open back up the road for normal use. Communication, communicating with the project abutters to make sure everyone's on the same page and anticipates what's happening next during the construction phase. In the past, we've done a shared post with the town's Facebook page. I'm not sure what's going to be the approach here. We've done email blasts, so if you're an abutter and want to stay in the know, you can sign up with, we'll have a resident engineer on site during the project. They can get your information. We'll send out weekly or bi-weekly updates letting you know where we're at with construction, what's happening next, when you might be impacted, when there might be a delay or temporary closure of the road, just keeping you in the loop that way. And then safety, obviously Plymouth is unique with Plymouth State being here, so students out and about at all hours of the day during construction, making sure that they can get to and from their house to the campus, and then after hours as well, with making sure that everything's closed up, no trenches are left open during the night, backfill, safety fences, XYZ. HEB will have an engineer on site for both day construction and night construction to ensure and communicate with those abutters, municipal officers, and whoever it may need to be. And then managing the challenges. Today we're here to really learn anything else that we may not know that you guys may have to share with us so we can plan for it. We may not have an answer today, but it's something that we can have further conversations on once we get into that final design phases, so we can start working with the abutters, identify where you can park, can't park, and really just keeping it going through construction. We'll have open communication between contractor, engineer, town, to make sure everyone's needs are being met and satisfied. So I don't know if there's any, and I guess the one last thing here is the communication and consistency with the water and sewer project. Their project will take place before ours schedule-wise, but that is a different firm. We're planning on it being the same contractor, having both projects bid at the same time, so we have one contractor to deal with directly. We don't have to fight between two different contractors to make sure they're on the same page and their work isn't overlapping or out of schedule. So the plans have one contractor to make everything as seamless as possible. With that, I will open it up to any questions. Yes?
Hi, my name is Sue Gell. I manage 2 businesses on South Main. Our uniqueness is that we're in 2 buildings and they're on the opposite side of the road from each other. We have upwards of 1,000 customers a day crossing the road, and there's no crosswalk there. So that's a challenge anyway, but is there gonna, I'm assuming that one lane will be open and one lane will be closed. Will it be possible to cross the road to continue the seamless nature of
Yes.
shopping at both buildings?
So those things, pedestrian access and traffic, there's going to be a need to maintain pedestrian access. I can't say whether there's only 2 crosswalks, I believe, on Southern Main Street right now.
Right.
Whether those will always be open, but working with the contractor and their traffic control plan to make sure that pedestrians can access either side of the road at any point in time is one thing that we can do. There may be those temporary closures where you can't cross at that one section because they're installing a drain line through there. And those are the things that we'd like to make you aware of when we're gonna be trenching in front of your business, so you, whether it can't be get a vehicle in your parking lot for an hour or two, or you're gonna have a temporary shutdown for pedestrians where they can't make that transition across the crosswalk. Those are things.
There's no crosswalk, so there's no crosswalk near it.
Right.
We've already tried that and we're told we couldn't get one, but we have dozens and dozens per hour crossing the street there.
So your
as part of the
concern is
shopping
after
experience.
construction is done as well? Would you like to see a crosswalk?
Oh,
at-
absolutely, absolutely, but
So-
that's a different matter, but I just wondered, because normally construction of this nature, one side is closed while one side is open and there's one way.
Right.
And the nature of our business, unfortunately, is that it operates in two buildings now, and they're directly across the street from each
Sure.
other, the Legion building and the Brown building across the street from it.
Okay,
So the nature of customers are, they're gonna go to one and then they're gonna wanna cross the street. And some of them are pretty rabid, they may climb right down your hole to get there. So,
we don't want that to happen, but those are things that we can have outlined in our contract, or in our plans and contract for the contractor to acknowledge pedestrian traffic where there's a need for crossing. So at your business could be one of them. If someone's waiting on the sidewalk, they're gonna have traffic control workers to accommodate to those people, to stop traffic, to allow them to cross the road, because the crosswalks won't be defined during construction because it'll be a little bit ripped up. But yes, those movements, pedestrian movements, can be maintained as long as we have them brought to our attention like we did.
that's why I came.
And then
Okay.
just to answer down the road, DOT, so DOT manages the road within the white lines, the fog lines of the road. So they are trying to limit their crosswalks, and where they have crosswalks, they ideally like them at intersections, not mid-block crosswalks that are just floating. So the coordination and possibility of that happening is gonna go and fall under DOT's review. It's something we can try to accommodate with the project, but DOT will have that final review and either acceptance or denial of a crosswalk at that location.
Is there a method I should use to reapply for that? I already talked to the town and I talked to the DOT and they said that because it would fall into a parking lot, they didn't do crosswalks that way, they had to go from sidewalk to sidewalk. But there's 12 in the town that do go to parking
Right.
lots, so I don't know what to do. But either way, I just wanted to, in reference to this job, know if they could cross the street.
Can make that accommodation, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, I'm Frank Miller. I did the parking inventory, and along the process, I identified the area at the Plymouth Inn site and next to McLean's Tree Farm. And that is a choke point. The road and the sidewalk extends out into the traffic lane approximately 6 feet. About 2 years ago, I talked to our previous town planner on site with McLean about getting permission to reset his boundary line to make the sidewalk parallel to the existing course that would allow a drainage system. There is no drainage from Russell Street. It just comes down the terrace on through the dirt and out onto Main Street. So that's a place where a culvert catch basin should be installed. But we would like to, purpose was to address the 6-foot offset into the driving lane along with then, if that could be set back, then it would have a place for a catch basin. And since there's no catch basin between Fox Walk and the printers, which is this building south of it, that would enhance the drainage system.
Sure.
Area. And the other question I had was, in the previous stormwater drainage upgrade in the 90s, we had problems with traffic flow for the businesses. We have been trying for 20 years to get a crossing at the intersection of Railroad Street, Town West Road, and the unnamed way. It crosses, there's a way across the railroads right there at that intersection. And it right at the corner of the fence of water and sewer. Obviously, the people that own that property, we had a meeting. I don't know what the status of that is, but we're still, that is part of our plan from 1995. So it's to get that crossing completed. And it was also part of the stormwater drainage plan from back to that time.
Okay.
And I don't know the status, but that is one of the things to allow a diversion of flow of traffic from Route 3 to Green Street, to come up Highland Street and totally bypass this construct area, I think would be very helpful.
I don't know if from detours during construction will be inevitable, and that sounds like a great alternative because we had batted around going up Warren Street and using Russell, and that would not be an ideal route, especially with large trucks coming through. So that's a great insight. Those details will be worked out further down the road once we get into the final design phases. We'll be back here displaying what the final plan is, what the intent is, and then factoring in those detours. Drainage from Russell Street, the scope of our project is basically within the limits of the sidewalk. So we're staying inside the right-of-way on town property, and then adding in new sidewalks and new drainage. So new catch basins, new drain lines all throughout Russell Street. The intent for Russell Street right now is to carry it towards Warren Street and bring it down that way instead of letting it fall downhill, eventually coming to Main Street, then Depot Street from there. So Russell Street's going to be an intersection and kind of cut off all the flow uphill from that and bring it down towards Warren Street to eliminate the flooding from down on Main Street. Yes.
I'd like to also agree with Frank that there's quite a bottleneck on South Main Street. And 3 years ago, I went out and measured it. And coming from the center of town south, it's 43 feet 4 inches, and then it goes down to 42.2. Then it drastically reduces to 38 feet 3 inches, and then the narrowest part is 37 feet 2 inches. So it's approximately 6 feet 2 inches narrow. And I believe the reasoning for that is the old Plymouth Inn on Main Street across from the Flying Monkey was built very near the road. It was a very old building. And I believe where McLean's property, where the trees are planted, kind of took and met that spot where it could have stayed wide. It would have had to abruptly come back. So it aimed for where the sidewalk would fit alongside of the building. The building has since been taken down, and McLean, as Frank mentioned, is willing to allow the town or the state to encroach upon his property as long as some sort of retaining wall would be built into his property to allow for a more straight path for the traffic. And it seems like this would be the time to do it rather than at the completion of the project down the road.
So basically just looking to maintain a consistent width along South Main Street is what the desire is and ask. With the funding requirements, we're not supposed to be working on a private property. It's actually outlined in the funding. So depending on where that right-of-way falls and the budget for the project, it might be a possibility to have that consistent width all the way down through South Main Street. I don't know the answer off the top of my head, but it's something that we can look at and come back to you with an answer on why or why not.
Where the Plymouth Inn, where it's very, very narrow, that's town property now. So it would be just maybe 150 feet of private property. And that's your only stumbling block to get it corrected.
Okay. Don't know where everything lays out right now, but if it fits on town land and can be done and falls within the project budget, it's something that we could include. Yes.
You said we haven't even opened up the bid process on this. With the big federal infrastructure bill coming down, you don't expect people would pass on this project and set back our timeline. Do you foresee that as a problem?
I don't think so. Given the schedule on when we're going to be bidding this project, it's in optimum time for contractors. It's just before the start of the construction season. They're trying to line everything up, whereas other projects that may come from those funds haven't even been advertised or started to go into design or anything yet. So I don't think that there will be any issues with bidding it. It's a pretty significant project given all the infrastructure involved. So I believe we will get some top contractors bidding on this for a one season, more or less a one season project, yes.
I own 6 burner on South Main Street.
Okay.
The coronavirus ruined our business for a year, but the big portion of it was weddings and things like that, which is coming back gangbusters. And all we're doing is booking things for June, and I see problems down the road because now I only have 15 spots behind my place, but they kind of bleed into town.
Right.
And I'm just wondering how a wedding party is going to go off when they have to possibly go around a barrier through some mud.
Right.
Down there, we have all of Green Street. I'm wondering if we're looking into things like that where we might be able to some temporary parking. You talked about staging of materials, and
Yes.
I'm thinking if we could do something on how bad it is and maybe put some temporary parking back there, and maybe I could put a staircase going up or something along those lines.
Yep. Those are things, the parking situation is one that we are well aware of. Bright Pierce has addressed it in the water sewer project as well, so we're gonna kind of couple with them on where we can use temporary parking locations, whether it be on town property or if there's a private property owner who's willing to give up an easement for temporary use on their property. That's one thing that we've identified, and we'll be getting into those conversations with those abutters and landowners to try and make that possible for those events. We've come across them in the past before and have found solutions for them. Like I said, don't have an answer just today, but we can make accommodations for that.
And also, you're going to be working at night and during the day, probably trying to do aggressive work at night because of traffic, but that's of course when big use for me. So that's what I'm worried about. I'm wondering if I should scale back booking in July, or we just do it and we'll come up with a plan and try and get people in there. But
It's difficult to give you an accurate answer now because it's depending on where the contractor wants to start and stop work too. Those things we can, once we know, we can obviously communicate with you right away as far as schedule and when you may have events and things booked, and apprise you to what may be happening during that, or if there's nothing going on, then keep it status quo for normal operations minus the gravel road temporarily. Yep.
Can you give me a breakdown of the funding? That's a state road. So what portion is the state paying for? And how much is covered by the grant, and what is the town responsible for?
Are you gonna?
It's 3.375 million total, with 2.7 from EDA, which is the federal U.S. Department of Commerce, the Economic Development Administration. All right, so the difference is what, 675, right? Yeah. So 675,000 is from the town. All right, so there is no state funding in it, even though it's a state road, and because it's a drainage project, it's the town's drainage system that we're upgrading. And some of the work is on Russell Street and above too. So Joe, right, and the town owns the drainage system, and yes, we have to dig up the road to get to it, but it's not a road project, it's a drainage project. That makes sense.
There's part on the Webster site and McLean site. That is a safety issue. Main Street in town was done back in 1900, and there were no code systems for anything. So the state and the town accepted this roadway by default. It did not meet any of the standards at all. By state standards, transportation standards for ways, state highway, and the town's on the standards, that represents a safety issue. So there needs to be emphasis put on the fact that by realigning that sidewalk so it's a parallel course to regain the 6 foot, so we maintain the minimum standard. I would say minimum because technically our Main Street does not comply with state DOT standards for parallel parking along a major thoroughfare. do need to look strongly at any associated work necessary to comply with the safety issues when you're under construction.
We can definitely do that. The project has been budgeted construction-wise, relatively conservatively, I would say, to make sure those funds are appropriated. The scope, however, the scope of the grant is for drainage, not necessarily safety improvement. So we can incorporate them, but I won't say they will be more or less focused on safety measures, whether it be rapid reflecting beacons, things of that nature. Sidewalks width, there's a fairly easy one that can be incorporated in, but as far as those accessory safety devices, the funds may not allow for those types of things to be installed. But yes, the simple things, geometric widths, alignments, grade transitions, tripping hazards, those can all be remedied with this project. Yes.
In the areas disturbed to install drainage pipes, et cetera, will there be full curb-to-curb repaving, or is this gonna be a big patch?
Full curb-to-curb repaving. There's actually concrete panels underneath the asphalt on Main Street that are subject to removal as well. The removal of that concrete panel system has been budgeted for, and then it's a full roadway reconstruction as well, new gravels and new pavement, curb-to-curb.
Thank you.
So these numbers are just for the drain?
Correct. Yes.
I have a question.
That is being covered. Plymouth Village Water and Sewer has a separate grant for that, I believe. I don't know the details on that, but that is.
Yeah, I don't have that right in front of me. With theirs, I think it's somewhere between 5 to 5.5 million combined. Do you remember, Joe, with the water sewer?
I don't have that figure.
It's another.
They are separate.
It's another couple million, as I understand it. But I don't want to speak for them. But we're getting up to 5 million total, for that area. Plus, but for us, is also Russell Street, because that's where the water starts. So
the disruption is, you anticipate most of the disruption will be next summer?
Yes.
Following summer, just be cleaned up?
Construction for both is scheduled for next summer, so they'll likely come in with sewer first, run water, and then after that run drainage, and hopefully be out of the road, have it all paved by the end of next construction season. And then minor cleanup items in 2023.
Actually, I've got a question regarding, I know Six Burr brought it up, but is there like a holdback for loss of business to accommodate, the businesses along Main Street that are?
There hasn't been one planned. This is why we're here, is to try and keep things open and as seamless as possible. Nothing has been incorporated into the project so far with that. I don't know how the funds, I don't know all the background on the funds, what we can and can't do with them. But to my knowledge, there's no plan for that right now.
It's not quite as big, actually it is. Northern Pass, they had a holdback that, they anticipated like paying off local businesses that might lose business, but
Right.
anyway.
Yes.
Mike Ahern again. I was involved with the parking committee in Plymouth, and we identified one spot that was in front of the senior center. There's 3 sets of tracks in front, 2 that are used on a regular basis, and a 3rd set further on the outside from the senior center, and I believe the term is a saddle, that they use on a rare basis for repairs to the tracks. So it might be once every 2 to 3 years, or once every 5 to 6 years that they may use it. It looks like if you park perpendicular, that you could fit 20 to 30 vehicles in that spot right before you enter the gate into the water and sewer department. If you can park on top of those tracks,
Yes.
or you get to the ones that are used on a regular basis. We contacted the state at one point, I can't remember the gentleman's name, and he was gonna meet us, and COVID happened, and we didn't get a chance to meet. But that was one spot. Plymouth is unique in that we have a university on one side and a river on another, and they're not making any more parking spaces in between.
Right. if there were, we have spoken with DOT, not DOT rail yet, as there's no real plans to make any impacts to that, but that's a conversation that we can reach out to them and have, is saying, figuring out when their scheduled maintenance or whatever it may be happen on that portion of rail, and if it can be utilized for parking temporarily.
Yeah, temporarily would be great. If
Right.
it works, then maybe the town could talk about possibly using it more.
Dan, that area that Mike speaks about in the back of the senior center, one of the issues is lighting. It's not even well lit, it's not lit at all. So we'd have to consider that, I'm assuming, as well as the other areas that you're looking at for parking?
We can, yes. Whether it be temporary lighting, contractors, the large mobile light poles that they have, I'm sure you guys have probably used them in the night as well. Whether those can be included in the contract as accessory lighting for those temporary parking locations, wherever they may be if needed. That's something that we can put into the contract for the contractor to supply for those temporary areas. So everything is pending budget and where numbers come in, obviously, but those are something that we could include.
Did I understand you to state that this system is designed for a 10-year event?
Correct.
Does that seem realistic to you?
Yes. I mean, that's what the grant is allowing for, based on the preliminary drainage analysis and studies that have been done. The system can't even manage the 1-year storm event right now, so it's a relatively major upgrade from the existing system, but not that 100-year, 50-year storm event, those fewer infrequent storms. The challenge with that is when you're talking about the large watersheds we're dealing with, it's a even more extensive construction process to make that a feasible system.
I know that 50 and 100 years design flow is standard practice. And some places are doing 200 and 300 years systems. It just, I don't know, 10-year flood event, that happens all the time.
So with the system now too, we don't have a complete design done yet. We're quickly figuring out there's a lot of unknowns on where pipes go and where pipes don't go, and if they even go anywhere. So we're obviously upsizing the size of the pipes, but also providing free-flowing outfall locations. So we have, if there is a backup of water, it's not as drastic given the larger size pipes. We're looking at 2-foot to 30-inch pipes, whereas right now I think the largest pipe is 15, 18 in Main Street. So it's a significant upgrade, but
You're going up to what diameter?
up to 30 inches.
30?
That's
That's significant.
based on the preliminary designs that we've done so far.
So all the numbers you're throwing out here is just for the drainage section of it?
Correct.
Is the same contractor that's gonna do the drainage going to be doing the water and sewer part? And are they gonna do it in conjunction with each other? Or is this gonna be, we're gonna dig up the road, put in the drainage, bury everything, and dig it up again and put in
The plans
water
to
and sewer?
the plans to bid the South Main Street and Russell Street improvements as one project, water, sewer, drainage. So one contractor for all infrastructure. Yes. Funds are coming from different parties for both projects, but the actual construction is planned to have one contractor complete all the work.
There would be a conflict or a problem?
Correct. Exactly.
So is the bidding gonna be simultaneous?
Yes. Both projects will be bid at the same time.
So that whoever bids takes them both?
They're bidding on one project, drainage, water, and sewer. Two separate plan sets, one for drainage, one for water and sewer, but they're bidding on the collective set.
And did you say water will start first?
Sewer or water will start first. They're the lower infrastructures. You build from the ground up. Drainage will go on top of water and sewer. So likely sewer will go in first, then water, then drainage after that in that sequence. It's up to the contractor to determine how they want to do it, but that's typical practice.
Any other comments?
Is night work being planned, or is that a fallback?
It's
for
being
when
planned.
day goes south?
Being planned.
Okay, it's 6:05. I'm bringing it back to the board. And, yeah, thank you very much for describing this and
You guys.
clarifying it. And hopefully, if there are any questions from the local businesses as well, they'll please shoot them off to probably June to forward.
Or the town manager, highway,
True. All right.
we're all here to help. We're here to help.
Yep. I guess it's really happening this time.
I think so.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jude.
Chairman, can I ask that you go back and discuss the 3G construction purchase order?
Okay.
Joe has some additional information he'd like to
Yeah.
add.
Yep.
So, if you decide to hold off on this tonight, I've been in contact with that outfit, and he has a schedule that he has to meet, and if we put it on hold again, then it probably won't happen until spring, if he's even available at that time. So this project is slated for like right now, so he can, because he has to like pull all the stairs out, and tent everything, and pour concrete. It's all on a timetable. So if we keep putting on hold, we get further away from, he's been part of this for quite some time now. He did the repairs to hold it as it is now. So he knows what condition that's in. And the longer we put it off, it's a safety issue. Plus, if we put it off till spring, we don't know if he's even gonna be available with all his other work that he has. And it's just, it's gonna cost more. Each time you put those projects off, it costs more. So, I guess I'm just asking you to consider those options before you, as far as a safety standpoint, I can tell you I've been under those stairs, and if you were looking for a safety standpoint, I would put those stairs on the top of the list. That's my comments.
Should we close those stairs and start using the side entrance now?
Yep.
We could.
I mean, if it's as big a safety issue. Certainly don't want anybody else to get hurt.
Yeah, that's why we've been pushing to this point. The price was overwhelming, but I also had Stanley go back, and him and I talked about some stuff, and we lowered his price, but the other people's bids, they're not laid out the same. And with Stanley's work, he's going to, like all the bricks, these stairs are tied into the side of the building with all the bricks. And if you look at, so he has to remortar and set all the bricks. There's a lot of intricate detail that goes into this to make it aesthetically pleasing. And the question about the stairs is, he was gonna try to reuse those stairs, but the tread height are different.
They're short, right?
No, they're taller. So
they're tall.
the
That's
standard
right, they're
heights are shorter now.
Yeah.
And so there's a broken stair, and then there's two that are need to be replaced completely. So it's easier to replace them all and keep them all the same looking, the same. And so he can make that look aesthetically pleasing and incorporate that with it.
All right. This is a board reconsidering.
I don't have any question about the work. My question's about what we're not doing.
Right, I had the same concern.
And I don't think we have that answer still.
We
So-
have a meeting coming up on the 15th.
That's true.
If I can put Stanley off for one more week to get that list to the board for the 15th. You think I can do that? If I can have a
I'm
meeting.
just telling you where I'm at
Alright.
with it. I was told that if we need to proceed, that he couldn't guarantee that he could do it within this season.
I'll send him an email tomorrow morning.
Sure.
And the board has some questions, and they'll have an answer for him on the 15th. Or 16th.
If it makes sense to go forward, I mean, if we decide that we want to go forward,
Well, we'd have an answer.
yeah, well, I'm thinking, but we'd have an answer, but we'd also be able to, if he says no, if I don't hear it, that's too long in the future. Give me a couple days or whatever, then maybe we can have like a emergency board meeting or something.
Okay.
If needed, once you can contact the guy. But,
Should we close those stairs?
yeah, I think so.
Stanley works nationwide.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's gonna be
They're
completely.
recommending closing the stairs now if there's that big of an issue.
I think we'll probably
It's
have,
highly
Your
sought
thoughts?
after.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but, yeah, you can, but if you don't get him to do it and you close them, then you have to have an alternate plan.
Well, we got the
And there is
side.
no alternate plan.
Right
No,
now.
no one else wants to bid on that project.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if they really are as big a safety risk as you're saying,
Yeah.
having them open either in the interim till he does it or to the spring until he does, like any of those options don't seem safe.
I mean, yeah, I can certainly, we can take you up there and show it to you, and you can crawl around under it, to see the concerns.
I don't want to crawl around under it if it's not safe.
I trust your assessments
Push
here,
it to
Joe.
this point, so, it could last another week, it could last 6 months, it's been there that long, but.
Sure. Well, just from the
Look
board's
at it.
perspective, this is the first time we've had we've actually had anything in front of us.
So,
Chief?
We would want to look at the exit capacity of the town office before you close that, if you decide to close it. You have to maintain at least 2, they have to be able to accommodate so many people. We would need to look at that before you make that decision.
So that would override the safety concerns?
Well, they would be dealing with the safety
They're
concern.
present and functioning today, although they're not compliant, as we know. The tread riser is too high, they're not uniform, et cetera. But it's competing highs.
Yep.
They're present and they work from a practical standpoint, although they're not compliant.
Yeah, and I've been under there crawling around. Now there's a door. I mean, it's kind of sealed off, but we can open it up again, I guess, but if you can are you gonna be taking a quick look at it then, or are you gonna be reviewing?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Tomorrow.
sure.
Okay.
Wear your hard hat. Bring a
That's
steel
something.
beam with you, yeah. All right, thanks. Okey-doke. Oh, do we have any emergency management update, or?
Just real quick,
Yep.
we did receive a letter from FEMA with regards to the final adoption of the hazard mitigation plan. So on October 29th, we did receive the letter. The plan now is in place and will expire in October of 2026.
Excellent.
Great.
New and other business. First is Tom Morrison, bid acceptance for the sale of the 1987 Mack, engine number 2.
As you know, some time ago, we advertised the 1987 Mack for a sealed bid. That's a reserve engine for us that's been out of service for some time due to a cracked pump and body work that we didn't feel was, it wasn't prudent to do on a truck that age. So we received 18 bids, sealed bids that ranged from a low of $751 to a high of $23,653 from SS Excavators. And I would recommend that the board accept that high bid. I've spoken to the bidder, and he's willing to get down here the next 7 days so that we're not plowing around it.
Okay.
We were pleased with that price.
Let's have a motion, and we only have a draft acceptance, right?
That's something completely different.
I move that we accept the bid of $23,653 for the 87 Mac.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, we
That's
did
more than
well.
expected, I think.
Yeah, we had spoken to our shop that works on our trucks, and they're also a dealer, and this was far and above what they thought we were gonna get, so.
That's great.
Great.
That has been my favorite fire engine.
Yeah, I know.
I think you know that.
Hate to see it go.
Were you the one who bid $751?
That's right.
I didn't see his name on the list. I didn't see you here, Bill.
Yeah, I would have been the 23. So we have a motion and a second, and we have discussions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. June Hammond Rowan, agreement for drainage easement. Proposal and authorization for Catherine Lowe to sign a letter of agreement.
So I think you have the draft, they have a draft letter,
We do,
okay,
yeah.
great. So this is something that's come around pretty quickly, just in the last, really on Friday. It's for the downtown drainage project that we just discussed, and HEB engineers are still very much in the preliminary design phase, but part of their work is trying to figure out where everything's going to go in terms of drainage and the water and the outflow. So one thing that we are looking at, and Joe can also help explain this, is we currently have water draining down behind Boomerang on property that's owned by Locomotive LLC. So what we're beginning, we just wanted the board to be aware that we need to have some type of an agreement with the owner there to allow access in the property to further investigate what's going on there and how we might be able to do something for a drainage easement there if the design leads us in that direction. So this was just a very, very rough draft of where we're starting with this, of some of the key points that we wanted the board to be aware of, and basically asking you to be aware of this and to authorize the town manager to move ahead on this letter of agreement. As you have with other documents related to the EDA grant, you've authorized the town manager or the finance director to sign things. So this was just a rough draft of it to give you that update. But because this is moving fast, we might need to get this going before another board meeting. So this would be kind of a next step to allow us to move ahead, to hopefully be, if needed, we will then be able to move ahead on a more specific easement for some of the work in there.
Okay, and I guess the alternative is to run, pipes down to Route 3 or something, and would have been costly and not a very good solution.
I think this is an excellent proposal.
Okay.
If this does turn into a plan for a permanent stormwater detention pond, will that come back before the board?
So it's my understanding that the board would have to formally accept any easement and, be the legal body to sign for that, because it's property rights. But we don't know yet where this is going. This is more just while this draft has your signatures on it, in the interest of time, I'd ask that you consider having the town manager and or finance director sign on your behalf for this type of a letter, that then when we get to that point of an easement, if we get there, if it's needed, then certainly it would be, a legal document, a title, it would go to the registry of deeds. Before we can even go out to bid, we have to show that we have title to any of the areas that we're working in, the roads, the drainage areas. So that's a big part of the project too, some legal work there. It's complicated.
Okay. Is there a draft? No, the draft's right here.
Yep.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to allow Kathy Lowe to sign the letter of agreement for this drainage easement and proposal.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
I think that's the right location.
Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Now Christmas.
Scott Whedon. Huh?
This is really in collaboration with Alex, because Alex has been doing much of the work with the Rotary Club of Plymouth with regards to the holiday celebration that will take place on Friday, December 3rd, December 4th, and December 5th, with a majority of the events taking place on Saturday, December 4th, to include all of the usual events, including a parade this year. I will say that I've worked with Alex and Steve Rand in putting some of the safety guidelines together, and they are following the protocol from the CDC with regards to distancing and masking up. So I think they've put a nice draft plan together. And Alex, I don't know if you want to add to that with regards to the parade?
Yeah, so for the parade, it's an outdoor event. We just had our downtown trick-or-treat business. We didn't have any problems. Everyone was in guidance. And before you should have the parade permits for the panels that I have applied for. To include the waiver of the $50 that we already did.
Wait, $50? Oh, humbug.
So the event would be for the parade for December 4th at 5 o'clock.
Very good.
The Rotary Club is really looking for the blessing of the board to move forward with the event taking place on those 3 days.
Have you already booked like Tim Keefe and Cabby? And,
Yes, we have.
all right. Well, so is there a motion to waive the $50?
I'll make a motion to waive the $50 fee for the permit for the holiday parade.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Well, this is great. So, let's go ahead and sign this, I guess. Or do we need to? There we go. Never mind.
Yeah, we're back, right?
My signature is getting worse.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're knocking through this. Zach Terrell, discussion of cable contractor and internet service.
Give me 1 second.
Anyone to sign first?
So I'm continuing to talk with Spectrum Charter about our franchise agreement. I had pushed them for our franchise agreement requires them to provide a strand map to us that shows where all of the fiber and coax infrastructure is in town. Instead, they sent me this, I don't know, child's artwork, which does not provide us any useful data in order to figure out where the where the lack of service is in town. I had a follow-up conversation with them this morning. I guess it was actually this afternoon. They seemed to understand better my request the second time around, so I'm still waiting for a map. They did tell me, they were like, well, if you could give us all the addresses that you want to know what the cost is, we can do that. And I was like, I can't take this map and figure out which addresses aren't highlighted. It's just, there's not enough granularity to this. It's a pretty bad paint job. So, continuing to discuss with them this issue.
Okay.
But I've got contacts. I've got people who are answering the phone. That alone felt like a win.
All right. Midstate. Is Midstate here?
Yeah,
He
it looks
is
like it.
on
Oh. Hey, Bob.
Bob and Audrey.
Hey everyone, with me is Audrey Gowdy, and we're here to ask the town for a letter of support for our little learning center that The letter of support is very important for us to finalize the USDA loan of about $1.9 million. We waited until we had all of the town approvals, which we did, thank you. And now we are back in asking for that letter. I think previously we had provided a template letter that did not obligate the town financially. Apologize, I have a dog in the background here, but so it doesn't obligate the town financially, and hope that we can get that going tonight.
All right, thanks, Bob.
You're welcome.
Any comments from the board?
When this was first brought to our attention, there was some discussion about whether or not that childcare center was going to be registered as a nonprofit and thus a non-taxable entity. As you are aware, this business is in our kind of prime area for economic development in the town, and we do have some concern about whether or not that building and that structure is going to get taken off the tax roll. In our early conversations, it sounded like that wasn't the intent, and that it was going to be run and kept in that capacity. But since then, it's sounding maybe like that's not the case. And so a component of this letter says there's no financial obligation to the town, and that might be true in a direct sense, but it sounds like maybe in an indirect sense, there is a financial obligation to the town.
And I think, as I recall, we had said that we would make a determination about our properties as we looked at them. And although I can't obligate Midstate to pay a payment in lieu of taxes, I can bring that back to our board of directors, and I'm happy to do that. But tonight I want to keep those two discussions separate. And tonight I'm asking for a letter of support. I hope I can get that. But I can tell you that I will bring this up to our board, and we'll continue to discuss what we think we collectively can do, us in the town, and happy to do that.
I don't think we want to keep those separate.
Yeah, I mean,
Why would we?
these are, if we go forward and sign this, it's basically giving you the green light. And then you can come back and say, oh yeah, we decided that we're not going to pay you anything in lieu of taxes, and we are holding the bag.
Well, I think, I don't know what to say about that. I think you might want to think about that. I can tell you that we're paid $5,000 a year for Boulder Point. In 2020, we paid $10,891 in taxes. In 2021, we paid $28,927, and estimate in 2022 paying $27,000. I hope that we can keep these two conversations separate, but if the board chooses not to do that, then we'll seek some alternatives.
I would just like to add, again, this is just in support of meeting the need for this tremendous gap in lack of childcare services in our community. And we have letters of support from our surrounding towns, Holderness and Rumney, Thornton, Campton, Ashland, Bristol. This is such an incredible need. And not only does it allow for affordable childcare, of which we are setting aside 51% for low to moderate income families, it's also, growing the workforce. We're not just retaining a few jobs, but we're going to be adding at least 8 to 10 new positions. So this is so separate from, the conversation about taxes. That's, to Bob's point, I would really like to see them as remaining separate, and just really recognizing that the community is in support of expanding very, very much needed childcare services in the community.
I'm not arguing against supporting childcare, but you even state that you've got support letters from other towns, and that yet they're not the ones hosting this. And if, we have to represent the needs of the taxpayers of this town who would be paying for this facility to go off the tax rolls if that's your intention. And the concern here is you're not willing to commit to saying that you're not taking it off the tax rolls or not willing to pay something in lieu of taxes, but you want us to support something that could ultimately do that. They are linked, so how is unlinking it fair to the taxpayers of Plymouth?
I can't comment on that. I can say that this service will lose roughly $50,000 or $100,000 a year. It's not a moneymaker. But just so that I'm clear, if you want to link the two together, I just want to make sure I'm able to report to the board that we can't get a letter of support unless we agree to pay taxes. Is that the statement of the board?
That's not my statement. My statement is that we should have a conversation about a payment in lieu of taxes, not necessarily that you have to pay taxes, but that we do need to have, in my opinion, some sort of conversation about the future of that facility.
I thought you were prepared to have that conversation at a later date. Tonight I'm asking for the letter of support. Do I get the letter of support, or do you wait until we have a discussion about taxes, and therefore are the two things linked?
I think we wait till we have that discussion.
Okay, thank you. I needed to hear that. Thank you. That's the decision of the board, then I'll bring that forward to the board of directors.
Do you want to have a motion or just,
Do we need a motion?
I think just to clarify the position of the board?
So I'll make a motion that we defer signing the letter of support until after we have a conversation about the tax status of the property.
A second.
Any discussion?
I just wanted to clarify the assessed value of that building, $711,000. I was just checking the current tax information. $711,000. So the taxes on that building alone are, previous to them buying it was roughly $19,000. So we talk about Midstate has paid some taxes in the past few years, but the taxes on this building are substantial historically.
Yep, thank you. I'm happy to bring it back to the board that you will not give us a letter of support until we have a discussion about a payment in lieu of taxes. I think I heard that correctly. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. I abstain.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob. All right, Barrett Walter, Norwich Solar Technologies.
I don't know if he's.
Hi. Barrett?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for taking the time. We are in the process of preparing a proposal for the state of New Hampshire's RFP to install electric vehicle charging stations throughout the state along key travel corridors. One of those being I-93, and we would like to propose installing a charger in the town of Plymouth. And the first step of that is identifying some sites, and we wanted to work closely with the town to determine what parking areas would be best suited that would support both drivers as well as the town.
Okay. All right, so I think we just probably since June's not here, I'll throw her under the bus, but, I think
He may want to discuss some of this area with Alex as the police chief overhead of the parking department as well.
yeah, and we also have some charging stations already. One's associated with a hotel, and then one is at the facilities building in Holderness, but,
And there's 7 in Ashland at Dunkin' Donuts.
oh yeah, but that's Tesla. They own that one.
The proposed location, though, I mean, on the surface does seem like a good location.
The what location?
So, in the email, the proposed location in the parking lot at the corner of Green Street and Holderness Road.
Talking about the kiosk?
Yeah, sounds like it.
I mean, that would be the most appropriate. I don't know, I can't think of any other place that you would put it.
So we would actually lose,
Well, I don't know, would it take away parking, or?
I mean, in some ways.
It doesn't matter if you park there or don't park there, I mean, I wouldn't wanna take parking spots away from people that don't need them.
But also someone who is parking there to charge their electric vehicles likely to walk up the stairs, wander Main Street, right?
They still pay for parking while they're sitting there.
I don't know, is that a part of it?
That thing
That's
is
a question.
designed, the kiosk is designed to make money through the kiosk machine. So if you take away those parking spots and let it use it for another service and defeating that purpose.
how many spots do we own there, Joe? How many spots,
There's, I mean, it's just laid out in that sense, so if you just do away and let people come in random use it, you're defeating that purpose of what that parking lot's designed
Well,
for.
what is the town benefiting for having these charging stations? Other than obviously people that wanna stop and go to business, but is the town getting money from these charging stations as well?
Barrett, can you answer that?
I'm doing my best to hear. Is that, what is the town benefiting from these charging stations?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the idea is to attract, well, the first is to support any town members that have an EV, but also to support drivers coming up and down the I-93 corridor. So the idea is to bring them into the town of Plymouth to then charge their car and then, I believe someone mentioned sort of, walk up and then explore the downtown area, use, go to different restaurants, shops, while their vehicle charges. The RFP is to put in both level 2 charging stations, which are slower, but also the high-speed level 3 chargers. But even that you're looking at a 45-minute charge time, give or take. So the idea is to bring people into the town, charge their car, and then have them also patronize the businesses in the area. So we're hoping to try and site these in a close to the highway, but also close to downtown in a walkable area.
will there be information listed on 93 letting people know they're there?
Yes, there'll be signage that will direct them in, and then also they will be on the different network apps. So on the different, like a Google map, that'll show there's a charging station in downtown Plymouth.
Do we have data that shows which current parking spots are not always used? Frank?
Yeah, I think Frank's got a comment probably on that.
Yeah, I did the parking inventory. The substation on Green Street, which is right across the street from the parking with the kiosk.
Well, just a sec. Barrett, can you hear that?
I heard something about substation and a kiosk. I couldn't quite make out all of it. I'm
Can you
sorry.
approach that mic?
Okay, sure.
Thanks.
The substation parking lot, which is owned by the town, has 19 spaces. I've been working on that parking lot, and it's not totally utilized right now because we haven't got it striped, and it's kind of locally known. But I would highly recommend that we put allow this charging station to go into that Green Street lot, which is right at there. It's visible. It represents the first place you would go off the interstate. And it's part of our economic development plan of attracting people to Main Street. And I don't believe we would lose, we could make up the loss of so-called obligated parking spaces for charging in a substation parking lot right across the street. So I would support that. That's a beginning of our charging system, and it represents something that's visible easily from a person coming into town that is not aware of other parking facilities we have on Green Street. Thank you.
It's a possibility for you.
Well, I have a concern about that.
Okay.
It might be a good location for you guys, but the highway has to maintain that. And it's not paved. And, it's, when there are cars parked there, it's relatively not, you can't, it's hard to plow. So you're faced with a lot of challenges in the wintertime. During the summertime, it has no restriction, but in the wintertime, it becomes an issue. Actually, a liability trying to plow around cars like that.
Well, Barrett, maybe
It's
you,
not set up. We fight with the cars that are parked there now, that gets rented out to beat them and plow around them, and it's tight.
so I don't think we'd be able to give you an answer, Barrett, at least tonight, but maybe if you work with, call someone at town hall, they'll plug you into our PD, our highway department, and our planner too, for that matter. And so have you contacted Kathy Lowe yet? Or
It looks like the only conversation he's had is with Colleen. Looks like maybe he said something to her, so I will, Barrett, I'll be in touch with you tomorrow.
Okay,
To give you
perfect.
some
Yeah, I
contact
reached out to.
information. I'm sorry. To give
Oh,
you
no,
some, to give you some contact information, I'll reach out to you tomorrow.
Bill, you have one other citizen.
Is that all right?
Perfect, thank you so
Okay.
much, yes.
All right.
wait a minute, just a sec. Yeah, you had a,
Lee, since this is essentially a private business going to be on public property, does it become taxable?
yeah, I'm not quite sure, what the financial, deal is, but let Barrett get to the bottom of it with our town, and yeah, it should be a revenue producer if it's a private company, because we already have like a couple of public charging facilities as well. But there probably will be more, and there probably will be competing businesses too. So I think let Barrett make a contact with the town at least. But all right, thanks, Barrett.
Thank you very much.
Okey-doke. Grace Garvey? Is Grace here?
Send this out to you tomorrow.
Grace? Is she a participant?
I can't see who's.
Oh, I hear a no, okay. Ann A. Bear, revised encumbrances for 2021.
Usually we do our encumbrances for the coming year, prior to the end of our fiscal year. This year, we had some additional charges that came in after we approved the encumbrances. The encumbrances that you initially approved were $1,797,801 or 802, 801.87. We're actually revising that to $1,267,306.99. I just need a vote from the board to approve the revised encumbrances.
What's the reason for that change in $500,000?
When we went to town meeting this past year, for this year, the board actually approved the town meeting approved a $481,000 in addition to what we needed for for the bond. So that 481,000 should really go back to the taxpayers because it is not needed. And that is your significant increase, or, I'm sorry, decrease at that point. So that 481 will go back to unreserved fund balance.
We didn't need that because we get better interest rates, or?
No, it's because when we put on the warrant for the money to come out of capital reserve, that money actually had to be appropriated as well as in order for us to get that money out of capital reserve to offset some of those expenses. Now that 481 was never spent. We want to make sure that it goes back, and it is not part of the 2.5 million. So actually you raised 2.9 million instead of 2.5.
Gotcha.
For that bond payment, so, which will in turn bring your fund balance to help offset taxes, hopefully this year when the taxes are ready to be set, to around 1.6 million. Every 498,000, I believe, is $1 on your taxes. So potentially the board has some funds available to help offset the taxes or consider future expenses in coming years. So I ask the board to approve a motion to amend those encumbrances to the amount that you have there on your spreadsheet.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to the encumbrances as listed here at 1.267306.99.
All right, Ted moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Very good. John Tucker, is he still here? That's too bad, because he was on a previous board that,
No, I don't see him.
that had a relatively very high unencumbered fund. And we're getting back to those days for a while, until we roll it back to the taxpayers. What's next? Plymouth Village Water and Sewer? Oh, committee
You
reports.
update?
Get one.
I want you to recap that. Okay.
Are you skipping the
Got
PS?
stuff for going forward.
Did I skip something?
Yes, you update?
Yes, you had.
No, he's here for non-public.
Oh, he's here for non-public.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okey-doke. Planning Board, I attended. Zach didn't.
Thank you.
We're looking at, that was a meeting to not attend, so thank you very much. I'm sure you watched it on TV, so, in any event, they're proposing zoning changes that will be going forward. And there was some discussion, quite a bit of discussion, and there's going to be further deliberations at our next planning board. And it's going to be before the voting public, so it'll be on the warrant.
Are they bringing was there 4 different major areas?
Yeah,
Fences?
I wasn't going to discuss all.
No, it's fine. We've had plenty to talk about tonight.
Yeah, we got, there's plenty of paperwork that, if you give me a call, I'll share it with you.
It's important. Check out Planning Board.
It is very important, and, just go look at it on TV, because it's definitely worth getting it square in everyone's minds, because we're going to be voting on it, and it's actually a lot of cleanup that occurred, which should have occurred probably like 10 or 15 years ago. So it's a pretty aggressive correction, but a good one. Neil, Ted, Campus Community Council?
No change. We still have a meeting scheduled for the 17th, 5 p.m., I believe.
Be there, be square. School district?
I didn't attend last week's elementary, but there is one at the high school tomorrow.
Conservation Commission?
We haven't had a meeting yet.
Okay. And, the Budget Committee.
They met this morning, 10 o'clock, across the hall. They discussed the large books, kind of the approach that they're going to take this year, and they are getting ready to make meetings with the department heads.
Very good. And Zach will just help you out here for the LRPC. There's actually a executive board meeting Wednesday, the 10th, in Meredith that I'm going to be going to.
You're going to that?
Yep.
What time's it at?
I don't know. 9 to 11.
In the morning?
Yes. Parks and Rec.
Nothing.
Parking Committee. Economic Development. Nothing.
Nothing.
Should be, but nothing yet. Energy Commission. I'm not on it.
Your name's
we,
there.
We haven't had a meeting.
Okay.
So that's Neil now? I'm sorry, I had the wrong
Yeah.
name here.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. We'll fix that.
Personnel. Accept Deputy Fire Chief Jeremy Bonen's resignation. And I'd like to read the very nice letter that Jeremy actually prepared. Oh, this is Tom's letter.
Jeremy's letter's there as well.
You want to?
Here. Got it, thanks. So let me read Jeremy's letter. Dear Chief Morrison, in 2004, I came to Plymouth to attend college and found myself welcomed into a large family of first responders. Then in January of 2008, I got to start my career as a full-time firefighter. There are no words to express how excited I was to begin working with and learning from some of the most amazing men and women. For the past 17 years, I have dedicated myself not only to the department, but to the community as a whole, whether working calls while off duty or making hot dogs at the fishing derby at Fox Park. I have tried to leave an impression on the community that I am proud to work for, the Town of Plymouth Fire Department. As opportunities to advance have become available, I have tried to better myself to move up the ranks. These opportunities have brought me to achieve the rank of Deputy Fire Chief, which I have held for the last 2.5 years. However, as of December 2nd, 2021, at 1700 hours, I am resigning my position as Deputy Fire Chief of the Town of Plymouth. I have been given the opportunity to lead my own station as the Fire Chief of the Town of Holderness. That being said, I would appreciate it if I could remain on the department as a call firefighter. I would like to see through to completion the projects I have committed to, for example, the new fire engine, as well as remain as the president of the Firemen's Association. To everyone at the Plymouth Fire Rescue, you are a great team who serves the community with the utmost respect and dignity. It has been a tremendous pleasure working alongside each of you for the past 17 years. Thank you to the Town of Plymouth for giving me the opportunity to work for a great community. Sincerely, Jeremy Bowen. Thank you, sir. Tommy, do I need to read yours, or is that pretty much say it, or?
Would you mind, and then I'll have a comment.
Okay. All right, and Chief Morrison prepared a letter for the resignation of Deputy Chief Bowen. Dear Kathy, as you know, yesterday we regrettably received a letter of resignation from Deputy Chief Jeremy Bowen. His last day on that position will be December 2nd, 2021. He will remain as a call firefighter. Jeremy started his service with Plymouth Fire Rescue on October 19, 2004. He was hired as a career firefighter on January 8, 2008, promoted to captain on September 14, 2015, and to deputy chief on April 1st, 2019. He has served with distinction at every turn. He has been an unwavering servant to our personnel, the fire department, our community, and indeed the region. He has always gone above and beyond his traditional roles to assist with outside details and community service events. He has accomplished all of this while remaining friends with, I dare say, every employee under his watch. That is a difficult feat to achieve. We are sad to see him go, but are excited to watch him continue to do great things in the New Hampshire Fire Service. I would suggest that you accept his resignation with regret. Please let me know if you should have any questions or concerns. Sincerely, Tom Morrison, Fire Chief. No mention of hot dogs at the fire derby, but that's okay. The fishing derby, but.
May I? We'll have some hot dogs on his last day. We're gonna have an open house at the fire station December 2nd, and the details of that will follow. We're sad to see Jeremy go, but we are excited, as I said in the letter, about what the future holds for him. Jeremy's dedication to our community for the last 17 years has been exceptional. He has performed at a very high level from the day that he started as a call firefighter to his 2.5 years serving as deputy fire chief. He is known for putting our personnel first and is often the first in line to volunteer to help, whether it is a fire department function or other community service project. Most of all, I have appreciated his friendship and wise counsel, and I'm happy that this will continue. Jeremy, we wish you the best of luck, and it will be a pleasure serving alongside you as a neighboring fire chief.
Are there any, what? You're looking at me like,
You're going to accept his resignation with regret.
I'll make a motion to accept Jeremy Bonen's resignation.
With regret.
With regret.
With regret, but happiness that it's only across the river.
Second.
any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oops. Nothing to sign? Okay. Look at Oak. So therefore,
Public comment?
yeah, are there any public comments? Seeing none.
Before you go into non-public, isn't there a meeting of the Board of Selectmen on Wednesday as well? Which would be the 10th. That was not listed on your list here, I just happened to notice.
Oh, okay.
What time is that meeting?
Time is the meeting?
It's not on my calendar either.
Oh, 1 o'clock, I think, actually.
1 o'clock Wednesday?
It
We have
actually
a
is in
meeting with the conservation easement?
my DES.
With DES, yes.
My calendar says DES, yes.
Okay, yes. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, it was with Lori Summer,
and she's DES?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. I have till 2:30, but we'll see.
It is on the calendar.
Can I take that via Zoom? Or phone?
We can make sure that a Zoom
That'd be
meeting's
good.
set up
Thank
for
you.
you? Okay.
It's on the Gmail.
Just be at work.
calendar. I've seen it.
They're not
1
forwarded?
o'clock, I think he said.
Yeah, there is a Zoom on this.
Okay.
There is a
In
Zoom.
relation to the Oxbow easement, Riverside easement?
Yeah, to discuss the possible creation or accommodation of a hiking path through the easement that was
So we
given
don't
to the
have to come
town, or could be given to the town
It's not here.
I don't have, it doesn't say.
without condition.
You only have to be
That's
here
the
if we have
attempt.
to vote on something.
So Kathy will be back for that meeting.
Look at Oak.
So, yeah, the question I have is, since this is Zoom, do we have to come here?
Only if we need to vote on something.
Well,
Only if you vote on non-public, right?
We vote on anything.
We're not in non-public that meeting, I don't believe. It's a regular public meeting.
no.
But even
yeah,
a
it's
public meeting, you have to
well,
have,
yeah, if we maintain a quorum here,
right,
Right.
as
then
long
we're all
as 3 of
set.
us are coming here.
Okay.
I'll be here.
I'll be here.
I can be.
Okay, well, that's free.
Zoom.
Okay. All right. So therefore,
I make a motion we go into non-public in accordance with RSA 91-A colon 3, comma 2, A through E.
A through E,
A
No,
through
A
C.
through C.
Second.
A through C, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's,
or Neil seconded.
Yeah.
okay, we had a motion, Zach seconded.
Yeah.
Neil did.
Zach did?
Neil did.
Neil did, I'm sorry, okay.
Sorry. So Mary Ann, your vote?
Aye.
Neil?
Aye.
Ted?
Aye.
Zach?
Aye.
Bill? Aye.